I was given the choice, and that's what I chose to do. But I must admit that I did underestimate the impact that it would have on my life and on me as a human being. I was oblivious to the fact that the people of our country hadn't seen a rape case in South Africa unfolding in real time with the actual accuser exposing herself on the stand. I anticipated some hate speech here and there, some naysayers and some support. Basically, nothing out of the ordinary. But I didn't expect the flood of support that I got. I literally went to bed one night, and the next day my name was everywhere. When I turned on the radio, the television, I went on social media, my face and my name were just everywhere, and I was not prepared for it. The plan was that I'd go to Port Elizabeth, say my say, and move on with my life as I knew it. Instead, I got to Port Elizabeth as planned, and I was re-traumatized. I got a badgering defense lawyer asking me about centimeters, telling me that I wanted to get raped, and basically making me feel like I was the one on trial. If that wasn't bad enough, I'd been back home for just a few days. Only just a few days when I was told that there was a hit out on my head for R500,000 because I dared to speak my truth. I had to move out of home and away from my family that was keeping me sane to somewhere safer to avoid imminent death. Luckily for me, Mamtogo Mkwanazi Kaluva, who's the deputy chair of the Cheryl Zondi Foundation, accommodated me, and she was there for me on her own account, in her own home, with her family. If it wasn't for her doing that for me, I don't want to think of what could have happened to me. All of this was happening, and the state did absolutely nothing. I had the witness protection program after waiting for them to contact me for weeks, telling me to change my name, move to the middle of nowhere, and drop out of school, reinforcing this lousy victims must hide mentality. Contrary to what was being said, I was never, ever in witness protection because it's a system that just doesn't work, especially for witnesses that are young and are not criminals or criminal informants. I was basically being punished for breaking my silence, and I still am, publicly experiencing what it means to be at the mercy of secondary victimization for the second time, which is what has brought us all here today. The NPA has not yet reached out to me to officially tell me how this recusal is going to affect me. But I do read the news, and the bottom line is that I am likely going to have to start testifying all over again from scratch, as if nothing happened last year. As if I didn't have to write special exams because the trauma I experienced made me incapable of concentration. I couldn't read for a few months. As if I didn't have to spend time away from my family to keep myself alive and to keep them alive. As if I haven't lost enough weight and sleep from all the stress that I've endured from this process. As if basically all that I've been through means nothing. The sad and harsh reality is that none of the things that I've mentioned are new. This is what happens in South African courts day in and day out. This matter is just bringing all of that to the fore in broad daylight for everybody to see. Since the Cheryl Zondi Foundation was started, I've engaged with victims who've made my story sound like a walk in the park. Some of them can't even get the police to take down their statements or even give them case numbers. I've dealt with victims that live one street away from their perpetrators. And if the witness protection program isn't working for me, how much worse is it for them? What's happening to them? I came out and made myself a symbol of hope and a role model. All of this I never anticipated. It's something that I'm still getting used to, but I have a responsibility to the nation that has supported me from the beginning. I have a responsibility to live up to the confidence our people have in me and to just keep going. There are people out there that I think about every day, children, young women and men who have been through what I have been through and worse. They're watching and they're waiting to see if I'm going to give up. And I want them to know that I'm not. Giving up is certainly not an option. Yes, but that's all I need to be. And that's all anyone who wants to come out needs to be. I want everyone looking up to me to see that it's possible to go through this and move on, to be happy, be apologetic, wear what they want, go where they want, be sexual if they want, and just live the way they want. It's possible. Don't allow yourself to be caged in to what society expects a rape victim to be. It was extremely difficult and agonizing for me the first time around, and I certainly expect the process to be even worse and more amplified than it was the first time. The defense lawyer that I was referring to earlier is wanting to have cameras removed from the court. And that just goes to show that these people want to dictate how I tell my story. They want to dictate how victims tell their stories. And that is not on. The story belongs to me. These are the things that are being brought to the fore by this case. And it cannot be justice. These things need to be addressed. If I have to go through secondary victimization all over again to get justice, then so be it. The thing is that I know at the end of the day, the truth is going to trump all these tactics and all of these lies, as always, and it will prevail. I don't care how many times I have to tell the truth or go through the same process over and over again. I will not give up, because this is not just about me or even about this case. It is much bigger than all of us, and it is about justice. So the struggle is going to continue, whether they like it or not. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. I don't know if yeah. Can we entertain some few questions from members of the media? Please, for the benefit of the panelists, just indicate your name to the media house you represent. Can I get an indication of questions, if any? I see the question here, another one here. Okay, let me take the two for now, okay? Yeah.
Cheryl, I just want to get a sense from you, knowing that it's possible that you could repeat this process again. Do you feel that you have enough confidence in the justice system going forward, that the perpetrator will be brought to court?
Can we take the second question? Is that the only question, Ken? Let me take the second question.
Do you feel let down by the justice system?
Okay, can we check that?
Okay. To answer your question, I have confidence in the truth. You know, I know my story, I know what's happened, and I know what is going to happen if the person I've spoken out against goes free. So I have confidence in the truth, and I strongly believe that the truth will prevail at the end of the day. Could I please have your question again?
My question is, do you feel let down by the justice system?
It's very difficult to be objective in situations like this, but when you think about it, it's one end against the other.
All right, we're coming out of the Cheryl Zondi Foundation media briefing.
Yeah, it seems that she is willing to re-testify. If
yes,
we got that
and
correct.
This is in relation to that request by Peter Doberman, the legal counsel for Omotoso, the request he made to the courts to say, going forward, that they want the media not to be able to film the proceedings.
He did say that they don't want it live, and some of the reasons he gave was that he says in the normal court proceedings, witnesses are not allowed to sit in court and listen to other witnesses. So by broadcasting this live, witnesses have a chance to hear other witnesses. So he's against that, and he says he intends to object for the live broadcast of these proceedings.
About it at all, because the thought of having to go through the process all over and tiring it was the first time round. I remember I couldn't even eat that day when I found out. You know, it's very stressful that day when I found out. You know, it's very stressful. It's a very stressful position to be in. But I also think about how it's better for it to happen now, while there's still just one person who's come out. I think it would have been a much bigger disaster if there were maybe 10 or 30 people having to start all over again. Since I suppose it's not the worst thing that could have happened.
Do you feel that the argument that he was too protective of years of witness is justified?
I just feel that he was being civil, like a human being is civil. I wasn't made to feel appropriate or overly comfortable in any way. I just feel he was being civil. That didn't reflect to me.
I saw some additional hands. Yes. Start with this one.
I'm actually from the UCA. My first question is covered. My second one is finding that the judge has used to. Did you stay at this accommodation that his wife has shared with him, and that you were interacting with him prior to the trial?
The only place I've seen the judge is in the courtroom. So I never saw him outside of the courtroom.
And where did you stay?
I stayed in a guest house that was arranged by the state. So to my knowledge, I didn't know who it belonged to or anything of that sort.
Anybody in the SABC? Now that you know that you will be testifying again all over again, are you emotionally fit and are you ready? You've seen how the defense operates. Are you ready? Are you going to be? Are you mentally prepared and emotionally prepared?
I'm not gonna lie and say I feel strong all the time, or that I feel ready all the time. You know, I am a human being and I am feeling the pressure of this whole process most days. And I have to bring myself towards myself. You know, I get panic attacks, but it has to be done at the end of the day. You know, I can't go to sleep at night knowing that I could be doing something to put a bad guy off the streets and not doing it. So I don't know, it's just a daily struggle that I try to, I feel that when the time comes, I'll be okay. I'll be fine. I do have people I confide in. Yeah.
Can I just, okay, I see a hand here. Any other questions? Yeah, this side and then this side. Yeah, thanks.
Begging my channel's television news. I just want to find out, you now as a human being, as a person, socially, has this whole ordeal affected you socially? And then also religiously, where do you stand now, having been victimized by a person who was a religious figure to you? Where do you stand now, religiously and socially?
Socially, Beggy, there have been a lot of adjustments that I've had to make, just to accommodate where my life is right now. I don't, for safety reasons more than anything, I can't go to certain places that I could go to before. You know, when I walk down the street, I have people coming up to me and, you know, just embracing me, giving me words of encouragement. There's just been basically a whole lot of support. Socially, every day I think I get at least 1 or 2 messages from people showing their support. That's really encouraging. Religiously, it's taken me years to get to a point where I was able to speak out about what happened to me, more so like publicly. And I did lose my faith along the way, but where I stand now, you know, I do believe in God. I strongly believe in God, as a matter of fact. It's just doing the work of separating God from people or, you know, external forces that misrepresent him and paint him out to be something he's not.
Question this side? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You mentioned
I just take every day as it comes, and I try not to put too much pressure on myself, because there's enough pressure from the situation and this process. And I do have people that I trust, that I confide in, people that are close to me, and that helps. It helps. You know, talking to people I think is a form of counseling as well, so that helps.
Okay. Are we covered? Looks like we are covered.
No, nothing to add.
Okay. There's another question.
Cheryl, what the press judge used, would you say what's happening now? Have they stopped or are they still going on?
Let me answer that one.
Okay.
I think the issue of threats to her life came in through formal structures, who then informed me that her life was in danger. That's why we had to do what we had to do at the time, due to the fact that the witness protection program system collapsed. We are aware that the threats are not so high now, hence the initial arrangements are still there, but we're monitoring the system.
Okay.
Cheryl, you mentioned that the defense is trying to prevent media from broadcasting the story. Do you feel that without the media, the story would lose its voice?
The media doesn't, not entirely, but the thing is, you can't deny the fact that the media has given this crisis the voice that it needs for change to happen. So I feel that without that aspect, the impact will not be the same. because people will no longer be exposed to what happens in our courts, and that needs.
Okay, that line is not stable there. We do apologize, but I guess we got the gist of what happened at this press briefing. The witness in the Timothy Omotoso trial, Cheryl Zondi, addressing the media, basically saying she is prepared to retestify at the trial.
I don't know, Cheryl, maybe you've got your concluding remarks. Otherwise,
okay. Just again, I'd like to thank you all so very much for availing yourselves to come today. The media is a very important tool, a very crucial tool in telling the story. So thank you once again for coming.
Let me close by saying, as a nation, we ought to be very proud of Cheryl. She just turned 23 a few weeks ago.
The 2nd of the month.
2nd of the month, and for a young woman to stand up to so much trauma, public. What happened to you in such a private thing? You know, normally it's very difficult for normal people who had their first sexual experience in a positive way to actually talk about that. But to talk about a negative first-time sexual experience publicly like this, some of us are unbelievably proud of her, that she's still standing even now in spite of everything else. So thanks, Cheryl, for standing up for all of those other victims who are voiceless and nameless. To say there are other people out there, she's not the only one. We've been trailing a whole range of other victims who have gone through the same thing, and we're hoping that more and more victims will come up and come out and say, me too. And we're hoping they'll get as much support as Cheryl is getting from the media and from society at large.
Chair, colleagues, there are 2 more. Also, comment from
There's no number. There are so many people that have come and approached the foundation, so I can't give you an exact number. But there are a few cases we are assisting with, because we can't do everything at once.
Maybe I can add that even the police have started coming to the foundation to say, we've got these victims in Limpopo, for instance, who need support from the foundation, from Cheryl, because they feel talking to her will help them feel stronger in terms of what they are going through. So there are angles from everywhere.
I think for me, my name is Solomon Shams from the Movement Against Abuse in Churches. And for me, it's just to thank Cheryl. It came this morning, wasn't expecting, didn't know what to expect, you know, because for me, if you're taking the step away, it's going to affect a lot of people, you know, and sometimes listening to you, you work in isolation. The support is not really there the way it's expected. But we just want to, let you know that, you're speaking for a lot of people, for quite a lot of people, and just being strong and going all the way, and saying that we have to see justice, because that's what it's all about. We really want to say, thank you so much, and we will be supporting you, we're praying for you, and just know that what you're doing now really helped a lot of people. You will never make there's a courage for them to come out. Because we work with victims every day. A lot of them don't want to come out. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Pastor Solomon. I think we have come to the end of this briefing. Thank you to our panelists, thanks to you, colleagues, from the media. So this briefing has come to an end. Thank you. I've got copies of the statement here. I think I've got 20 copies.